I've been divorced for 10 years now, and that was the most traumatic time of my life. I understand what it's like to be grieving and to feel a sense of loss and a sense of your world being flipped upside down, a sense of powerlessness, not knowing who you are, where you're going, and what life has in store for you. So whether you're going through a divorce or you're going through a breakup, I've been there, I've done that. I want to share this story authentically with you today in a beautiful day, beautiful evening in a park. I met my now ex-wife, and she was my dream girl. I was honorably discharged from the US Air Force. I was stationed in Germany. Then I moved here to London to be with her. We had a really nice flat setup, and I just recently finished my college, and the world was my oyster. I had my whole life ahead of me. And fast forward just a few years, there were many problems in the marriage. I have to take accountability for a lot of it as well, because part of living, guys, is being able to take responsibility and accountability for what you do and what you contributed to make the relationship end, and not just blame it on someone else. That's unfair. But ultimately, there was also an element of infidelity involved. She got with a friend that I had introduced her to. I met him at the gym. I took him into my family. I introduced him to everyone. He became friends with my friends. There's a funny picture of him sitting on my couch with his leg up my coffee table, holding a glass of wine, with me cooking for him in the background. And I did not know then that he'd end up being not only getting with my ex-wife, but becoming my daughter's stepdad. It was a hard and bitter pill to swallow, because I went from being a full-time dad, being able to play and hanging out with my daughter every day, to a part-time dad. And there was a lot of custody issues in between. My heart was breaking. But I find the courage, and I found the will to keep going, not only for my sake, but for my daughter's sake, because I want to be in her life, and I want to know that her father never abandoned her, and he fought for her tooth and nail. So, I even moved into this area in West London so that I can be closer to my daughter and have more time with her. But it was a rough time, but I got over it, because I always have a resilient personality. I think I got that from not only being in the military, but also my upbringing. My parents always instill a sense of duty and a sense of honor and a sense of responsibility. So those things play a part. We get that from religion. We're Christian. I believe in the power of Christ. I believe in God. And I believe that He has a plan for everyone. But we have to believe in His plan. We can't just live in a way that is contrary to our faith, right? So fast forward, it's been 10 years since the divorce now. I've been in 3 major relationships. I'm currently in the third, and many other situationship in between. My current girlfriend, I've been with her for over 2 years now. I met her while I was on a trip to Stockholm. I recently broke up with someone that I met on, it's not a dating app, but it's more like an event where you go to meet other single people. So she was really flaky. And I know, guys, I know I'm jumping around a lot as well, but I know, guys, how the dating market right now, the dating climate is really stacked against men, right? If you go on social media, it would have you believe that all women are a certain way. They all want men who, the 666, right? Six pack abs, six figures salary, and 6 foot tall. And anything less than that won't do. But you guys have to understand that social media is just one element of life, and it doesn't reflect everyone as a whole. There are still normal people out there, but unfortunately, the normal people, like, it's really hard, even for me as a life coach, to get behind a camera. The only people who are truly comfortable behind a camera, they tend to be narcissists to begin with, right? So I know it's stacked against you, but there are a lot of good people still out there. But in order for you to find them, to meet them, and to recover, it's to be able to put yourself out there again, be able to have that faith in God and in yourself, that there are people who will be aligned with you if you're your true and authentic self. And what do I mean by being your true and authentic self? If you go online and you search up a dating coach, or even like those sleazy pickup artists, they're gonna tell you like to do this, to do that, to be really sort of disingenuous and manipulative in order to get what you want. But the problem with that is, if you do that, then you're gonna attract the kind of person that you can't sustain, and you won't be able to stay with them indefinitely. And B, you're not being true to yourself. You're not aligning with yourself and who you are. That mask is gonna crack sooner or later. And you don't want to be that person. You don't want to live that life where you have to pretend, you have to play games, and you have to manipulate in order to get what you want. You know, I've been coaching for almost 3 years now, and I meet all kinds of people when I coach, and they're coming from different backgrounds. But the common denominator that I'm seeing is that a lot of people, when they get heartbroken, or when they find it hard to navigate the dating world, somehow the algorithm will find you, and it's most likely red pill or maybe even black pill content. And if you don't know what it is, red pill is basically what I stated earlier. The core premise is like women are broken and they only want men who are ultra high value compared to themselves. Otherwise, they won't commit to the relationship. Now, if you have that mindset and you have that mentality, then I guarantee you that's exactly the kind of women that you're gonna meet and you're gonna end up with. But if you come with your true self and genuine self, and you don't put up with BS, and you have standard, you live by your own code and by your own words, I guarantee you will find someone of equal value and who will appreciate and will honor that. I met my girlfriend when I was on holiday in Sweden. She was the waiter for my table, and I sat down and I thought she was cute. So I made eye contact with her, and I said to myself, if she makes eye contact back with me, then I'm gonna say something. If she doesn't, then I'm gonna leave her alone. And in the dating game, you have to understand subtlety. Sometimes when a woman is interested in you, she does it in a very subtle way, and you can easily miss that. But she made eye contact back with me, but it took me the entire meal and then after dessert before I mustered the courage to say something. But in the meantime, when I was eating, I also talked to a Belgian couple who was sitting next to me. And I did that because A, they seemed like a friendly couple and they were making eye contact with me. So I started talking to them. But the second reason is because I want for her to see that I am at least a sociable person. I'm not a psycho. I'm able to converse with people. I'm not awkward or anything. So, but when she took away the dessert, she asked me why I didn't finish it. Was it too much? So I told her that, to be honest with you, I didn't need a dessert, but I just wanted extra time to muster the courage to ask if you want to go out and have dinner with me tonight. And I didn't even ask her name at that point. I haven't even said, my name. It just happened so fast, guys. So in the end, she just pulled out her pad. She texted the order on, and she wrote down her number. She didn't even write her name. And I messaged a couple of hours later when I was just out walking around, viewing the city. She replied within 5 minutes, and we booked. I booked a place. I booked a restaurant for us to go. During the restaurant, I understand, like in Sweden and in Scandinavia in general, women, they don't like you to pay for them, like especially for the first dinner. But I live by my own code, and I always pay for the dinner because I think it's a very small thing. I appreciate them being there and I can afford it. Not to say like I'm a millionaire or anything, but it's such a minor thing. So I didn't mind paying. But what I did was instead of waiting for the bill to come, I would I said to her, I made an excuse to go to the restroom. And when I went to the restroom, I paid at the counter. We had a great time, but she was really hard to read. I couldn't tell whether she was into me or not. I usually could, but she is quite stern and businesslike, and I felt like it was a bit of an interview. But at the end of it, she asked if I wanted to go to a viewpoint to overlook Stockholm. It's a beautiful view. And I said, okay. On the way there, she had her bike because she rode on her bike to work. And I offered to push it for her, which she thought was cute, but she said no. So now I'm not really sure whether she's into me or not, but we kept walking. And then I dropped a hint that I was keen. And I said, the reason why I asked you if you wanted to go to dinner with me is because we made eye contact and I thought we had a moment. And then she made a joke and she said, well, I give that kind of attention to all my solo followers. I mean, all my solo customers, followers. And then she saw me look down like this, like, oh, I guess she's just being friendly. And then she looked at me and smiled and said, but you're also kind of cute. And I knew right there and then, like, that was my shot and I had to make my move. So I leaned in. She was using GPS to find the viewpoint. I pushed her phone down, I pulled her in and I kissed her. And the rest of the evening we spent there, and then I walked her home and she said to me, what you want to do now? And I said, it's okay, it's late. I'm gonna walk you home, I'm gonna grab an Uber and then I'm gonna go home. And later on when we actually were together, we were boyfriend and girlfriends, she said that she was surprised that I actually booked an Uber instead of trying to go up. But here's my point, guys, like you have to take your chance in life and you have to be a man of your word. So I think if that evening I wasn't a man of my words, I said I was going to take an Uber and I ended up going up her flat, it would have been a meaningless physical connection. So I showed her that I'm a man of my words. And also that if I had scared and talked myself out of asking her out, then I wouldn't be sitting here telling you this story about the love of my life right now. So one thing, well, actually three things that I want to give you guys, if you guys want to listen, in order for you to make a happy life for yourself. The first thing is have faith, have a belief in something other than yourself. I don't care what God you believe in, whether it's Buddha, Krishna, or Christ, right? Just have faith in a higher power than you because they are absolutely real, guys, and they will bring you good things. God will bring you good things. He will bring alignment to your life if you are in alignment with Him. So have faith in something other than yourself. I know it's hard sometimes. It seems like no one's listening, but trust me, He's listening. The second thing is have something to fight for. So for me, that would be my daughter and now, my girlfriend. But my daughter is the one element in my life where I don't care what happens to me as long as she's okay, as long as I'm living to be the best version I can be for her. So have something other than yourself to fight for. There's too many people are just basically living in their own misery, they're living in their head, and they're not thinking of someone other than them. When you think of someone other than you, it makes you not the victim of your life anymore, but it makes you the hero of their story. So be the hero of someone's story because it's going to give you all the power in the world to do what you want to do and to be the best version of that you can be. The last thing, guys, relates to social media and the world we live in. Don't compare yourself to the mountains in the background, people who are richer, more successful, better looking, taller than you. You know, don't ever let them get you down or feel like you have to measure up to them somehow, because you have your life and you have one life to live. This life was given to you not only by God, but by your parents, the people who I hope loves you and believe in you. So don't do them justice and live your life to the maximum. You know, and remember guys, no one that I have met in my life would ever, who's ahead of you, or who's above you, would ever punch down at you, would ever criticize you, would ever make fun of you. It's only the people beneath you or on the level of your misery, and they want to pull you down even more. Why do they do that? They do that, they pull you down even more so that they can feel better about themselves. They're going to elevate themselves. So guys, remember, don't worry about the people ahead of you, you know, and don't worry about the haters, because the only people who's going to hate you are the people who really don't give a damn about you, and why should you care about them either? So that's my message, guys. If it resonates with you, I'm going to make more videos. I'm going to dive into case studies, not only from my clients. Obviously, I'm going to keep their name confidential, but from my own life and from my own dating experience, what works and what don't work. I want a nice quarterly debate and just openness. And I invite you, I sincerely invite you to subscribe and join me on this journey. I appreciate your time and listening to me if you're still listening. See you later.